My friend Tim cheated on his wife, so I told him he ruined his kids' lives. Now, his wife took him back because of what I said, and my wife is upset because she thinks I made Tim's wife forgive him out of guilt. I want to know if what I said was really wrong. Just a heads up, this is a very sensitive topic, and it might be upsetting to some people. I've known Tim, 38, since high school, and our families are close. Tim is married to Sara, and they have 2 young daughters. Last month, Sara found out Tim had been cheating on her for 2 years. She found out through some anonymous messages and discovered he was having an affair with a coworker. Sara was heartbroken and talked to my wife about it. My wife and I supported Sara, and Sara kicked Tim out of the house. He's now staying with his parents and trying to get Sara to take him back. I decided to cut ties with Tim and stand by Sara and the kids. Tim has been messaging me ever since, trying to talk. Last week, Tim's mom reached out and said he wasn't doing well and wanted to talk. I didn't want to, but I agreed to meet him. He came over to my house last Friday evening. My wife didn't want to see him, so she stayed in the bedroom with the kids. Tim was really sorry and told me how much he hated himself for cheating. He said he ended the affair and was planning to leave his job to try to fix things with Sara and get their family back together. He asked me to talk to Sara so they could discuss things and maybe fix their marriage. Tim started crying, and he complained about how he and Sara had been having problems, which led him to cheat. I know it wasn't my place, but I lost my temper and told him to stop blaming Sara. I told him that if they had problems, he should have talked to her about it, not cheated. Cheating was the worst thing he could have done to her. I told him that not only did he hurt Sara, but he also messed up his kids' lives. They didn't do anything wrong, but now their lives will never be the same because of his selfish choices. I told him that while couples may have problems, his actions were punishing his kids. I was angrier at him for ruining their lives than for anything else. I told him he was a monster for not thinking of them before cheating. We argued for a while, and I finally told him that I couldn't help him. I was sticking by Sara and the kids, and we were going to take care of them. Tim left after that. My wife was glad I didn't support Tim or let him blame Sara. Before bed, my wife asked me why I focused so much on the kids during my conversation with Tim. She said that Sara's life was ruined too, and I should have made it clear that Tim shouldn't have cheated because of her, not just because of the kids. I told my wife that I felt worse for the kids because they had a stable family, and Tim ruined it for everyone. My wife asked me if I would ever cheat. I told her I wouldn't because I have morals, but if I ever thought about it, I would stop because I wouldn't want our daughters to go through what Tim's kids are experiencing. My wife got upset because she felt she should be the reason I would never cheat. I understand her point, and I love her very much, but I want our daughters to have a happy life with 2 loving parents. That's why I said they would be the reason I wouldn't cheat. Am I wrong for thinking this way? Should my wife always be my number 1 priority? Update. Thanks to everyone who gave me advice on my post last week. It's been a tough week, and I've been feeling pretty guilty about everything. I keep thinking about what happened yesterday and blaming myself for how things turned out. The issue is that my friend Tim was caught cheating, and when I argued with him last week, I told him he should have thought about his kids before having an affair. My wife heard this, and she was upset. She thinks I should have focused on telling Tim he shouldn't have cheated because of Sara, not just because of the kids. I now agree that what I said was wrong. I was emotional at the time, and maybe I wasn't thinking clearly. One night, I had a long talk with my wife and apologized. I told her she's the love of my life and how much I appreciate everything she's done for our family. I explained that while I want our daughters to have a great life, I should have also focused on how much Sara was hurt by Tim's actions. My wife was understanding, but she asked why I kept talking about the kids during my conversation with Tim. The truth is, when Tim's wife Sara found out about the affair, she was devastated and had a breakdown. Sara is a stay-at-home mom with few friends, so my wife went to support her, and I volunteered to take care of Tim's kids for a few days. I wanted to give Sara some space, and I kept the kids at our house while Sara recovered. It was hard because Tim's younger daughter, who's only 4, kept asking for her parents. She's daddy's girl and kept asking me to call Tim to come to our place. It broke my heart to see her and realize how much her life would be affected by Tim's selfish actions. I felt so sad during the whole situation. I know it's Tim and Sara's relationship, and it's not my place to interfere, but that's why I reacted the way I did. I'm lucky that my wife understood my feelings and supported me instead of being angry about what I said. She told me that she had spoken to Sara about Tim coming over and about my argument with him. Sara was hurt by it but still asked my wife if she could come over on Friday to talk to me. We met on Friday, and Sara asked me about my conversation with Tim. I told her everything, including how Tim's mom reached out to me and how we met. Sara asked me why I said those things about the kids. I explained how I felt in the heat of the moment and apologized to her for voicing my opinions. Then, Sara asked if we thought Tim could change because she's worried about their kids. She said Tim had always been a great dad, and she didn't know if she could raise the kids without him. My wife told her that what Tim did was unforgivable, but we didn't want to give advice about their relationship. Only Sara could decide what was best for her. Sara said she wanted to talk to Tim and asked if we could host them both at our house so she would feel safe. So, on Sunday, Tim and Sara came over. It was the first time in a month that Tim saw his daughters. It was emotional for him, and I couldn't imagine being in his shoes, seeing how broken he looked. There were a lot of tears. Tim and Sara spoke privately, and from what I gathered later, Tim apologized a lot and promised to do anything to make things right. He told Sara he had already given his job a 14-day notice and vowed to never see his affair partner again. He also promised he would make himself available for marriage counseling and suggested they move to a new town near Sara's parents for a fresh start. Sara agreed to most of it but didn't want to move. They decided that Tim would move back into their house, and they would try to work things out. They thanked us for helping, and Tim apologized to me for all the drama. It all seemed okay on the surface, but my wife is worried that my comments about their kids might have made Sara feel guilty into taking Tim back. I never meant to interfere in their relationship, and I know they have a tough road ahead if they want to fix things. I just hope they can find the strength to do so. I feel like I might have accidentally caused them to reconcile, and if Tim cheats again, I could be blamed because of the words I said to him earlier. Comments section. User 1. I'm afraid that when Tim cheats again or if they break up, Sara will blame you and your wife for suggesting she stay for the kids. Even though you said you wouldn't give opinions, you did. You might have helped more by telling her that a good dad will continue being one, no matter what. Divorce doesn't mean she has to raise the kids alone, and she should do what's healthiest for her and the kids. Staying for the kids alone can lead to more pain in the end for everyone, including the kids. Your wife was upset because it seemed like you were minimizing your vows to her. The same is happening with Sara and Tim. Cheaters often stay cheaters. User 2. I feel really bad. I didn't mean to guilt Sara into staying with Tim, but I think my comments may have. I always thought I knew Tim, and I never imagined he'd cheat on Sara. I don't trust him anymore, and I don't know if I can stay close friends with him. User 3. Tell Sara that there's no time limit. She can leave Tim whenever she wants because he's a cheater. He should tell his affair partner, their families, and even his company. She should also get a postnup with penalties for cheating. User 4. I don't want to be involved in their marriage anymore. Tim is my friend, but I feel strange giving advice about their relationship. I know Tim messed up, but I hope he fixes things and doesn't hurt Sara again. I'll always worry that Sara might be in a bad situation because of something I said in the heat of the moment. I told my wife everything. I told her that her sister, Sara, is being cheated on, and that we should tell her the truth. My wife said we should talk to my brother-in-law, Mark, instead, and that we shouldn't break up their marriage, especially since Sara is pregnant. I was shocked. I said, so what if she's pregnant? Her husband is a cheat. I tried multiple times to convince my wife to tell Sara, reminding her that despite their issues, she's still her sister and it's not right to hide the truth. But my wife kept asking me to stay out of it. I got frustrated, and yesterday, I told my wife that I was going to tell Sara the truth myself. I have a strong bond with Sara, and I can't betray her like that. My wife told me if I did, she wouldn't talk to me anymore. I replied, I won't talk to you either if you don't want to do what's right. So, I went to Sara's place and told her everything. She didn't believe me at first and asked me to leave. After a few hours, she called me, crying. She admitted I was right and that she shouldn't have kicked me out. She said she was leaving Mark. I asked her where she'd go and if she had money. She said she had some, but not a lot, so I sent her some to help. She said she'd only use it if necessary, otherwise, she'd pay it back. Mark called my wife, and she lashed out at me, saying I ruined their family and Sarah's life. I said, when we got married, your family is mine and mine is yours. Why are you defending that jerk? What about your sister? She didn't reply, and now she's not talking to me. I tried to convince her again that I did the right thing, but she won't listen. So I told her, fine, stay angry, and if you want a divorce, then go ahead. I feel like I've ruined my marriage. I don't know if what I did was right. Update 1, November 7, 2024. It's been a few days since I told my wife's sister the truth. Just to clear things up, no, I'm not in love with my sister-in-law. I have no inappropriate feelings for her. She's family, and I just wanted to do what I felt was right. Yesterday, I tried talking to my wife and asked why she was so upset that I told her sister the truth. My wife said it wasn't our place to interfere. I asked, are you okay with her being cheated on? She said she wasn't, but it's ruined their marriage, and the baby needs its father. I was shocked by her response. I asked, if I cheated on you, would you forgive me? She said yes. I also asked if she would hide it from me if she cheated. Again, she said yes. I couldn't believe it. She thinks that cheating shouldn't break up a family, even though it's a betrayal. I was speechless. I told her I sent money to my sister-in-law, and she started yelling at me, saying I shouldn't have helped. I said if that's how she feels, maybe we should just get a divorce. She got even angrier and started packing. I tried to stop her, telling her I love her and that I did what I thought was right. She said it wasn't the right time. I asked, so when should we tell her? After the baby is born, when it could make her depression worse? Or years later, when she'll blame us? She said we should have kept quiet. I tried everything to stop her, but she wouldn't listen. She left, and now I can't find her. Her family is blaming me for not taking care of her and for not knowing where she is. I even went to Mark's house to check if she was there, but there was no sign of her. I feel like I'm being blamed for telling the truth, and now my wife is gone without a second thought. I'm so angry and frustrated. Update 2, November 19, 2024. Many people asked for an update, so here it goes. But first, I want to address the criticism I've received about telling my sister-in-law the truth. Some of you kept telling me to mind my own business, but why wouldn't I stand up for family? If families don't look out for each other, who else will? It wasn't just a small issue, my brother-in-law's actions were life-changing for my sister-in-law, and I had to tell her. If I hadn't, he'd just keep cheating, and I'd lose a friend. So, as an update, my sister-in-law stayed with me for 2 days after I told her the truth. After that, she called me and said she couldn't keep troubling me and was going to stay in a hotel. I tried to convince her not to waste her money, but she went anyway. As for my wife, we're getting a divorce. After a week of no contact, she called me, saying she wanted to reconcile. She was upset that I went behind her back, but her main concern was that she didn't want to break up her sister's family, so she thought it was better to hide the truth. She said she would talk to my brother-in-law and convince him to stop cheating. But I wasn't going to let it slide, and I told her I was done. I don't trust her after everything that's happened, especially after she left without a word. She tried convincing me to stay, but I made my decision clear. She said, fine, let's divorce, and left. I told my sister-in-law about the divorce, and while she wasn't happy about it, she didn't try to stop me. I offered her to stay with me instead of in a hotel, but she said it would be inappropriate. I just told her that she could either spend money on a hotel or accept my help. So, we've been living together for the past few days, and we've had some heated conversations about how badly our spouses have treated us. My sister-in-law was even angrier than I was. She called my wife and let loose, calling her names. She's dead set on divorcing my brother-in-law, and she plans to go after him for as much as she can, including child support. Since then, my wife and I haven't spoken, and we both know that divorce is happening. My sister-in-law, though angry at first, is trying to calm down for her health and her baby. She's focusing on her career and preparing herself for being a single mom. So, yeah, that's the situation. To clarify, neither my sister-in-law nor I have any romantic feelings for each other. I'm just trying to help her through this tough time because she was really struggling with it. Some people might think I'm immoral for getting involved, but I truly believe I did the right thing for both my sister-in-law and myself. Now I know exactly what kind of woman my wife is.